Okay, here we go. This is video number 4. I can't believe I'm up to 4 videos on these books, but this is looking at vintage Gothic Romance paperbacks from the 60s and 70s, which I collect. Kicking off the 4th video with this fantastic popular library edition called Die, Jessica, Die by Jean-Anne Dupre. Cover image is fantastic, very haunted looking heroine, and a house that I've seen bits of in many other illustrations, but the title and the illustration make that a real collectible copy. You don't see this for sale very often, so if you do see one and you like these books, I would snap that up and I would keep it, because that is really, really fun book to have on your bookshelf. Here's another one. I might have done this one before, apologies if I have. House of Rancor by Sarah Nichols. Sorry, this might be in a previous video, but it's a nice illustration, even though the house is a bit buried in the background there, but the heroine is nice, picking up her dress very daintily. Again, nice edition, nice copy, good one. Here's an unusual one. This is called With Malice Toward All by Alberta Simpson Carter. Look at that name, open doors for her. The reason I'm saying it's unusual is because this is used twice by Popular Library. I've got the other copy of the book that it's used on. I mean, look at that. They didn't even flip it from left to right. You've just got 2 books with the same image. I didn't need to have both, but I love the image so much that I purchased both books. Both fantastic. I would pick either one up if you see them, because that image is so beautifully painted. And they got their money's worth by using it twice. Sorry for the glare. These are all in plastic because I like to keep them nice. Here's a good one. Sweet and Bitter Fancy by Barbara Bonham. I'm not thrilled about the cover illustration, but I did like the quote. Apparently, I looked this up and it's from a Shakespeare play. So there you go. You get culture as well as romance and suspense. I love these kind of silly titles, like the one about the subtle weeds in the previous video. Sweet and Bitter Fancy really has nothing to do with the story, but it makes for a good cover. Good old Popular Library. Here's a fun one, Return to Gravesend. Again, Marie Eyre is not a real person, that's a pseudonym. Lovely image of a heroine standing outside what I would say would look like a museum or a town hall, but apparently that is a mansion. In fact, I've read this book and that is a very accurate description of the house described in the book. It does have left and right wings and a porch and a dome on the top. So they got that right for once. Return to Gravesend. So that is a nice one. This is very rare. Well, I've never seen it. As soon as I saw it for sale once, I grabbed it. This is by E.F. Benson, who does not write Gothic novels. Well, that's not what he's famous for. I have a feeling that Popular Library have repackaged this book to make it look like a Gothic. You can get Raven's Brood by E.F. Benson in many, many editions with many different covers, but this is the Gothicized version, which I love. That house is gorgeous. It's got that bulge like the bricks have aged and the walls are leaning over, which I think is very, very nicely done. Again, very, very rarely for sale in this edition. I'm looking forward to reading that because E.F. Benson is a renowned author. So whatever the subject matter, even if it's not Gothic, it should be quite a good book. But what a great edition with a great cover. One last one here from Popular Library, Aquarius My Evil by Jean-Anne Dupre, who we saw another one of. This is trying to be a Satanic Gothic, which we'll come on to in a minute, with a goat's head and pentagrams and skulls. So this, I've read this, that's actually terrible. It's a really bad story. But it does have devil worship and satanic cults at the centre of it. But there you go, you can have a bit of black magic in your Gothic reading library if you want. On to Satanic Gothics. I've only got 2. These are extremely collectible. They're called Satanic Gothics because Avon Books actually called them Satanic Gothics, and they are explicitly about witchcraft or covens or devil worship or black masses. I haven't read these yet, but this Deadly Friendship by Candice Arkham has a very nice illustration of one of those plantation houses. Mysterious Child in this one. That's a lesser used Gothic illustration device. Lady in the White Dress is a very common house, but having a child in it. This is something to do with werewolves. That's a change in a Gothic romance story. So that is a Avon Satanic, and this is the only other one I've got. They're very expensive to buy. There's not many of them that are labelled as satanic. This one's called A Family Affair by Lynn Benedict. That's a really boring title. Doesn't really make it very collectible to have such a dull title. Ladies flinging themselves around in devil worship fun on the cover. Rather strange looking house, but again, they're really collectible. That red spine it's got, that's quite nice. Yes, I'm sure that's about something devilish. Okay, a couple more. This one on its own, this is by Dell. I don't buy Dell very often, but this is such a nice cover. It's called Image of Evil by Rosemary Crawford. There's 2 editions of this. In the second one, the picture is made much smaller and it's put in the middle of the cover with white around the edges. I didn't like that one, so I waited and waited for this copy to come on sale, which is the full bleed illustration. I mean, it takes up the whole cover with no border. And it's a nice, gloomy illustration. Actually, this is a good book. It's quite grim. She has a horrible time in this book, so you could enjoy reading that if you like suspense. More suspense than romance in that one, so that's worth getting. One other one of the Easy Eye books. This is for sale a lot. I've seen it for high prices. Why, I do not know, because I don't think it's rare or special. Odd image of the heroine trapped in dead wood. Holding snapped off branches and not a very exciting house. I mean, that's a very poor illustration of a porch, but it's called Winter Evil by Sharon Wagner. Massively thick book, but a very short story, padded out. I think probably the font is very big. So that's Easy Eye. They put that on books with large fonts. And you don't have to write much to fill lots and lots of pages when you've got fonts that big. But a nice copy. Kind of representative, I suppose, of the genre. Oh, there's a person there. I don't yeah. There's a secret person in the background. Anyway, there you go. And then to finish this one off, 3 new additions to the Ace Cameo series, which was after Ace had released lots of Gothics, they thought they'd corner the market and make them a bit more special, and they put this, well, Ace didn't call them Cameo Gothics, but the internet population has decided to call them that just because of this oval shape, which is the shape of a cameo brooch. This woman standing outside a very elaborate house, although the house is in extreme close-up, so you can't see the full house, but the door is open and it looks very exciting. So that's an Ace Gothic standard. They all share the same background text. Second one is the Yesterday's Evil. Again, this girl looking with this side eye, I've seen on lots of books. She's been painted with different hair and clothes, but that facial shape and expression is in lots of illustrations. It's rather a small mansion, but lovely dead wood with no leaves on in the background. That's Yesterday's Evil, Lydia Benson Clark. And finally, The Unforgiven. Not all of these Cameo Gothics have great covers. That's kind of dull, but it's in the series. I don't think I'm going to get all 24. That would be very difficult to get, but that's the final one of the new copies I've got. And that's all I have for you today.